and I think we might just actually be live. So, hi, Carrie, and welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, we already got a jump start on this. We already got to talk, and I'm so excited.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We have been having a good old natter in the background, haven't we?
Yes. And the thing is, you let me do most of the talking, actually. So now it's your turn. So tell us, we're here with the headline of trusting ourselves. So why is that important to you? Why are you passionate about that?
Well, I think that's, we were both saying how fascinated we are by humans. I mean, we're both so fascinated that we were talking about anthropology and psychology and the way that we create community, it was like, and what I'm always constantly amazed by is that humans are so creative. We invent, we evolve, we work around problems. We have all these amazing things going for us. And then apart from there's that portion of us that likes war as well. That's all part of human.
Yeah.
But then there's this bit of us which is in so many people where we just don't trust ourselves. We allow ourselves to shrink ourselves into boxes, that we become more concerned with how the world perceives us than how we actually feel inside, and that can really shut down possibilities available to us.
Absolutely.
And I find it fascinating. We had a little email backwards and forwards, and we were talking in terms of trust around surrender.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting that you kind of said that, well, you got to a point where you were just like, okay, I trust myself. And I was like, because so many of us struggle with that, don't we? So many of us with trust.
But the thing is that I only got to that point when I had run out of all the other options. I had tried to put my faith and my trust in this book and that method. Pardon me. So I have been chasing all the answers outside, because, as you say, we trust other people more than ourselves. We are taught that our parents know best, and our teachers will guide us to what we need, and all these things. And I was always a good girl.
Following the rules.
Yes. And I was very sensitive at picking up everybody's expectations, even before they were probably aware of what they wanted from me. I knew, and I'd already delivered. So there was just nothing left for me. I was barely a shadow inside, I guess.
And I think that's quite a common story, isn't it? That when we become a husk of ourselves, when we've just given and given and given and given and actually gone, oh, well, shit, when do I get mine? When we've looked for that external validation and am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it the right way? Am I saying the right words? And we just end up like, oh, I'm so tired. That's where we learn. Like you were saying, that's where we learn. For some of us, some people gorgeously are born with natural trust in themselves, but that's a lot of us highly sensitive, empathic individuals. That's where we learn that we can trust ourselves. And I think a lot of my work, which is around building courage and confidence through curiosity.
Yes.
And it comes back into listening to that little voice instead of listening to that big shouty voice. The world is always giving us the big shouty voice. The world is always like, this is how we do it. Sometimes we need to come into that place where we just get into the little voice. And actually, sometimes it's up here in our heart, down there in our gut, and quite often up here. As you were catching yourself earlier, it's just like
finding our voices.
Yes, finding our voices in a way that feels comfortable and authentic.
Because otherwise it becomes another one of those, oh, I read in this book that I have to be me, I have to. And
even as I said the word authentic, even then I was like, oh, that's such a commonly used word. And it's really like the word of like the last 5 years or so, isn't it? We all need to be our authentic selves. And then we go,
yes.
But I don't even know what authentic is. I don't even know who I am. And then you end up in that spiral of, how can I trust myself when I don't know who I am?
Yep. Well, I'm ticking all the boxes. I'm smiling and I'm doing this. So I'm vulnerable. I shared a painful moment. So now I'm authentic.
Yeah. And there's the external validation again.
Yes. So how do we find that space you're talking about?
Can I play a game with you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you've got more room than me. So I'm going to talk you through it. This is one of the little test games that I use, which really allows people to come into their bodies. Because that's such, for a lot of us, we forget how to rely on our bodily sensation, that our body is always giving us information about what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And we tend to go up here instead of coming around here. So if you have space, I'd like you to put your arm in front of you. She wiggles. Okay, so starting from like a neutral, she's mic'd up and everything. Starting from a neutralish position and a neutral thought, just stretch around and see how, you're like, which way do I go? Okay, so stretch with your whole body, not just taking from the shoulder, but allow your chest to go with you. Okay, follow it, your eyes on your fingertips, and then come back to the middle. Oh, you're a very flexy lady. All right, now, without telling me what it is, what I'd like you to do is I want you to conjure up in your brain, if you're comfortable with this, a time gone by where you felt darker emotions, let's phrase it that way. So where you felt uncomfortable, where things weren't going in a way that you wished them to go, where you really kind of felt, and then when you have that image in your head, we're going to do the same test. So you're going to turn with your head following your fingertips. So when you're ready, allow yourself to move. You are so flexy.
I do a lot of Qigong.
Oh, love Qigong. I need to make time in my life for Qigong. Okay, so this time what I'd like you to do is find that bright spark, that happy place, that memory, that feeling, that just that kind of like, whew, which just feels really, oh, she's there already. Look at that girl go. Okay, so with that in your same movement, you're going to follow your fingertips with the movement of your head. Okay, so when you're ready, go. So keep in mind, swing, swing, swing. Woo, mama.
I just got another 40 degrees.
Yeah, like crazy far, huh? Yeah. So you see how that feels?
Yeah.
And that is from trusting in your body's connection to your emotional state.
Yeah.
That is listening to the fact that your body knows what feels good for you. Yeah. So if you find yourself in that dilemma, if you find yourself poised in this crux of having to make a decision and not knowing what feels good, what's the right decision, you can trust in that energy of your body. Take closer to making a decision based on trust rather than cognition.
That's a really useful life hack if I ever saw one.
Isn't that a cool tool? Such a fun tool.
Yes. And also it made me think just now how if my thoughts decide how flexible I become, then what about my digestive system when I'm stressed? What about my breathing when I'm constricted? What about, I mean, it must be everything, isn't it?
There's that idea that thoughts become things. And that little exercise demonstrates really beautifully how the energy of our thoughts affects us on a physical level.
Yeah.
So when we are stressed out and we don't sleep well, it's no wonder that we're not able to make clear-headed decisions. because
Absolutely.
the energy system of the whole body, like on a really, I mean, a lot of my work is hands-on body work. At least it has been in the past. I've been a myofascial therapist for nearly 2 decades. So it's that appreciation of the gunk we hold in our thoughts, in our beliefs, in our previous experiences, very much interacts with the gunk we hold in our body.
Yeah.
So when we're not feeling lithe and slinky and supple,
Slinky, I love that word.
slinky, I mean, don't we just all want to live glorious slinky lives?
Absolutely.
And yet we can get like because thoughts, physicality, it all kind of interlink.
Yeah, it does. That was that was really good.
And then we just go like that.
Yes. Yep, thank you. That's that really shows how big that connection is. And I guess it goes both ways. But and I think that there's a lot built on that if you fix your body, then your life will become better. But I think I like starting with our thoughts.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times it's the dual engagement. Like you could spend 10 years in a day spa, but if you're not willing to have those internal conversations, and they are internal conversations, even if you chunter around the house, you know, but it has to start with that recognition that there is something that you wish to change. It has to start with the recognition that even though you may not know all the steps, you know that you have the ability within yourself to change.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you wish to change. And you don't have to see how to do it. You don't have to know how to do it. You just have to trust that you have the power and the audacity and the possibility and that glorious, amazing, unique vitality within you.
Yeah.
You can go on and do the next thing and do the next thing and do the next thing. And it will just like, you know, when people talk about things like manifestation, I think there's an expectation that it's easy work, that it's just like, I'm going to win the lottery. Ta-da! Ta-da! Hello, external validation.
Yes.
And actually, manifestation, in the same way as overnight successes, they come from working on the internal stories, working on the belief patterns, working on how you show up in the world. Whether you physical thing, isn't it? We know that there's we can spot from 10 meters away, we can spot from 50 meters away, we can spot from 100 meters away if we have good eyesight, someone who's feeling low or depressed, because that body shape that we cave in on ourselves because we're protecting our vital organs. And I'm not saying fake it till you make it, that we should all be like, I'm absolutely fine. But what I'm saying is that when we trust that we have all the tools that we already need, that allows us to unfurl, that allows us to present more beautifully. And that almost like magic brings towards us all of those opportunities, those conversations, those possibilities that will then go and create our overnight success manifestation story.
Yes. And for me, that was it became very apparent when I made that shift into beginning to trust myself more, because as you just said, it affected everything in my life. And I actually got to a place where I was like, if I keep this up, it's gonna make me fearless and invincible. Because when I trust that, as you say, I have the tools, I can figure it out, or my body will tell me, my inner voice, my intuition will tell me if I'm clear, then suddenly the world was a much less scary place.
Doesn't make it an easy place.
Not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily.
But there's such
a huge less fear.
Yes. And I mean, I run into the same things. I have a dentist appointment later today, and sometimes there's an unexpected bill, and that's the exact same things that always sort of given me that little, oh no, what's going to happen? But before it could topple my whole world for days. But now I'm like, okay, bill, I hadn't expected, but okay, well, I can work this out. Money tends to come in as I need them, and trusting myself, and a little bit more trust in the universe as well. That has helped.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's all just one big ripple, isn't it, really, energetically?
Yes.
And I think that when we talk about trust, so I like to think about things in terms of having the confidence to go out and take the action. So the bill comes in, you think, well, I'm going to have to pay the bill, wasn't expecting it. Having the confidence, having the trust in yourself to go out and take the action, to make the offer, to talk to that person, to ask for the raise, to balance home life and kids with working the extra hours that you need to make the money to do the thing. And then also having the courageousness that even when we get knocked down, we start again. It's like fall down 7 times, get up 8. It's that trusting ourselves that we have those internal reserves, the emotional reserves, the mental reserves, the physical reserves, all at hand, so we can get back up, so we can try again. And then there's that curiosity element that I talked about earlier. Curiosity of, well, why did it go wrong and why did it go right?
Yes.
What made it feel so fun and what made it feel hard?
Yeah.
Because when we start to trust that actually, and you hear it a lot in women when they say, I'm no good with money. Mm-hmm. I don't make decisions in my family, because we don't trust that actually we can be good with money. We can be good at decision making. Mm-hmm. And we can be great in leadership roles. It's fed like through our childhoods. Mm-hmm. These are stories that we've seen in the media. These are stories that have been shown in our favorite TV programs. As a child of the 80s, oh my gosh, Dallas and Dynasty. You can't be rich and not a complete cowbag. So we get told these stories as women from childhood that we're not trustworthy. And we're not good at this, and we're not good at that. And actually, if we have that courageousness and that curiosity and that confidence, we have that whole package, which allows us to go, but this is what I am good at. Yeah. And actually, I may not be amazing at this, but I don't suck. And that's enough. And actually, who do I know who could go and do the sucky thing so I don't have to?
Oh, that's yourself. A good point. Yeah.
Because trust isn't about being all the things for all the people.
No.
It isn't about being a super person. We're trusting ourselves to make decisions that feel good for us.
Yes. I especially like the curiosity part. To me, that might be the easiest place to start. Because as you said earlier, we might not know how things are going to work out. But even just being curious and saying, I got this bill, I don't actually have the money. I wonder what's going to turn up. I wonder what options there could be. And then, because that opens us to have that new idea. Oh, I could do this, that would make me some money. Or I have this old thing that I never use, and well, let me sell that, and then there's the money. Or so, but curiosity, confidence, and courage, that's a powerful combination like that.
As well, that it's really easy for us to have this conversation because we have spent that time, putting in that personal work and looking at our beliefs.
Oh, yes.
Because that's why we're these people. That's why we choose to talk about this. But I think for a lot of people, the idea of challenging their beliefs is incredibly overwhelming, that they wouldn't even know where to start. But the idea of, when we say getting curious about why things shape up the way they do, imagine they're coming from a background where you've been told, well, this is the way it is. It's my way or the highway.
Yeah, true.
Being one of those chatty children in class who was always being told to shut up, being told that you're a dreamer.
Yes.
Curiosity as children can get you into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
And as a grown-up, it's something that we have to unlearn, especially I would say women of kind of our age. I think we encourage curiosity in children much more now. There's lots more kind of forest schools and such.
Yeah.
But for my generation, my grandparents were very much children should be seen and not heard, at least one pair of my grandparents.
Yeah.
So that asks you, it requires you to be quiet and concise and to sit on a little stool and to button it. What do children love more than anything? Questions.
Yes. Yes.
We get taught really early on to zip it and chuck it. And I think that's the other part of it. It's how can people like us who are naturally curious, how can we inspire others to be cool with being curious, to be cool with asking questions, to be cool with not expecting somebody's dogma to fulfill. And I think that's a really interesting place as like coaches and mentors and practitioners are.
The thing that comes to mind as you ask these really good questions is that being that, just like we talked about before we jumped on, what's the worst that can happen? So just and the more we dare to be imperfect and do weird things, that will create that space for others, and even doing things in a different way. So if your curiosity has been shut down, which, as you say, it can be, but then if you meet someone who's living life in a completely different way, that'll be sort of, if nothing else, sort of like a, can you actually work from some tropical island just because you have your internet connection? All the little gears, how's that even possible? But so diversity and doing weird things, I think that can re-inspire that curiosity, because once we see that there are other ways, we might still not believe that it's for us. No, that's not for someone like you. But I think
it can inspire a version of it, can't it? It can inspire a gentle changing of mindset, a gentle kind of nuance in how you view.
Oh no, connection is freezing again for a second.
Amazingly important.
Yes. And I think I was really lucky that I had my brother growing up, because he has no doubt that he can do anything he wants.
Whoa.
And he has proven it so many times. I mean, he's barely 6 feet tall, and he decided to play professional basketball. And and people, he had trainers and coaches who told him that, are you crazy? Do you realize that it's much easier to get a tall person to play than a short person to grow? And he was like, I'm going to play professional basketball. So even though I kind of thought that, well, he can, I can't, because he's a different person. That's not for me. But even just having a role model, an example that it is possible, then the next step was to learn to trust and believe that it could be possible for me too someday. But
nice.
Yeah.
that the flavor of the flavor of the desire is different, but the pathway is still the same, isn't it?
Yes.
Taking action, taking the knocks, getting back up from the knocks, asking about the knocks.
Yep. And
I think also part of trusting yourself is about, and as women, this sometimes does not come easy, celebrating when things go right.
Yep. Something we could get better at.
You know, it's that thing of, if you never acknowledge the great things that are happening, it's almost like you're denying that they happen.
Yes.
It's almost like you're like, oh, well, that was just a fluke, wasn't it, really? I mean, that could have happened to anyone.
Yep. Oh, I was just in the right time at the right place. Yeah.
There's an amazing clip of Rihanna going around at the minute, you know, Rihanna the singer. And she's like, there's this crowd and she's walking past all the paparazzi and she's looking amazing. And she's just like this goddess figure. And they're like, you're amazing, you're brilliant, we love you. And she just turns, looks over her shoulder and goes, thank you, I know. But I'm like, she's so owning it. She's just so owning it. And yet that can look so arrogant, so conceited, but actually, how she knows that she's brilliant. She knows that she's amazing. She knows that she's completely crushing it. I mean, she's her bank balance would tell her, but isn't it nice that she actually
Yes.
And I bet she has always been, since child, I'm amazing, I'm brilliant.
Yes, she definitely had a head start on that.
I'm going to create amazing things. Watch.
Yes.
And I think for many of us, it's actually the watch me is internal. It's saying to ourselves, you can do this, you can create this, go do it, watch me.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good place to wrap this up, I think. Go celebrate our awesomeness and
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. This conversation would have been a lot less interesting if I've had it with myself. It wouldn't have stopped me, but it wouldn't have been the same. I love, because that's the connection. Something new always comes up when we're open and curious about a different perspective or a new perspective. So thank you so much.
Love being here.
Me too.